Good afternoon and welcome back to the Public Service Commission as we continue in the hearing in docket number 2023-5-G, which concerns an annual review of purchase gas adjustment and gas purchasing policies for Dominion Energy South Carolina Incorporated. When we left before lunch, Mr. Burgess, you had rested, is that correct?
Yes, Chair Belzer, that is correct.
Thank you. Office of Regulatory Staff.
Madam Chair, ORS calls the panel of Courtney Radley and Donald Shane Hyatt.
If the witnesses will come forward. While the witnesses are coming forward, I will note that we have the 6 commissioners who are hearing this case are all present in the hearing room. Thank you.
Solemnly swear, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the following testimony to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Good afternoon, panel. Ms. Radley, I'm going to begin with you. Would you please state your name for the record?
My name is Courtney Radley.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I am employed by the state of South Carolina as a senior auditor for the Office of Regulatory Staff.
Did you prepare or cause to be prepared 7 pages of direct testimony pre-filed in this docket on October 13th, 2023?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes or corrections to your direct testimony?
No, I do not.
If I asked you the same questions today as those posed in your pre-filed direct testimony, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
Madam Chair, ORS would move that the pre-filed direct testimony of Courtney Radley be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct testimony of Ms. Radley will be entered into the record as if given from the stand.
Ms. Radley, did you also prepare or cause to be prepared 3 exhibits marked as CDR1 through CDR3 that were pre-filed with your direct testimony in this proceeding?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes or corrections to your exhibits?
No.
Madam Chair, ORS would move that exhibits CDR1 through CDR3 be entered into the record as the next composite hearing exhibit.
Ms. Radley's pre-filed direct exhibits CDR1 through CDR3 will be a composite exhibit marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 4 and received into the evidence of this case.
Thank you. Ms. Radley, did you prepare a summary of your direct testimony?
Yes.
Would you give that at this time?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. The purpose of my testimony is to present the findings and recommendations resulting from the ORS Audit Department's examination of Dominion Energy South Carolina's purchase gas adjustment and gas purchasing policies for the period August 2022 through July 2023, which is the review period. Exhibit CDR1 presents, for each month of the review period, the components which comprise the cumulative PGA over or under collection. Dominion began the period with a net under collection of $13,109,963. Activity during the review period for the various components in the PGA resulted in an under collection balance on July 31st, 2023 of $25,841,495. During ORS's review of the PGA, the company provided ORS with detailed calculations of its interstate pipeline storage and liquefied natural gas, or LNG, storage facility inventories. ORS accumulated the various inventory levels by storage location in total. Exhibits CDR2 and CDR3 summarize the total inventory levels by storage location for Commission consideration. Based on its examination, it is the opinion of ORS that the company's PGA under collection on July 31st, 2023 of $25,841,498 shown on Company Witness Smith's exhibit number JRS-1 is accurately stated.
Thank you, Ms. Radley. Does this conclude your summary?
Yes, it does.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hyatt.
Good afternoon.
Would you please state your name for the record?
Donald Shane Hyatt.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff as a regulatory analyst.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared 11 pages of direct testimony pre-filed in this docket on October 13th, 2023?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes or corrections to your pre-filed direct testimony?
No, I do not.
And if I asked you the same questions today as those posed in your pre-filed direct testimony, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
And is it correct that you did not have any exhibits to your direct testimony?
No, I didn't.
Madam Chair, ORS asked that the pre-filed direct testimony of Donald Shane Hyatt be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Mr. Hyatt's pre-filed direct testimony will be entered into the record as if given from the stand.
And Mr. Hyatt, did you prepare a summary of your direct testimony?
Yes, I did.
Please give that at this time.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair Belzer and members of the Commission. The purpose of my testimony is to present ORS's findings and recommendations regarding its review and examination of Dominion Energy South Carolina during the review period. First, ORS reviewed the company's gas purchasing policies and practices and found them to be reasonable. ORS found that the company is prepared to meet this winter's projected firm customers' requirements. Second, ORS found that DESC administered and recovered its gas costs in a manner consistent with the current Commission-approved tariffs and Commission orders. Third, ORS has reviewed the company's updated calculation of the demand cost of gas allocation factors as approved by the Commission in Order Number 2023-737 and agrees with these factors as calculated by the company to be implemented in January 2024. Finally, ORS has reviewed the updates provided by the company on their construction projects and on the Mountain Valley Pipeline project and will continue to monitor these until completion.
Mr. Hyatt, does this conclude your summary?
Yes, it does.
Madam Chair, the panel is now available for questions from the company and commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Torrey. Dominion Energy?
We have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Commissioners, questions for these witnesses? Commissioner Caston, I see you reaching.
Just one quick one. Thank you. To either, but probably you, Mr. Hyatt, if you have any input. Has ORS had any discussions with the company, FERC, or any other federal or state agency on how to solve the need for increases in natural gas capacity for the state's utilities?
Not that I'm privy to, that I'm aware of. Mr. Seaman Wynn behind me, though, he'll have
I was thinking
way
about
better
asking him
answers.
that question. So, Madam Chair, I have no more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Caston. Commissioners, questions for this panel? Mr. Torrey, any redirect?
No redirect.
Mr. Hyatt, Ms. Radley, thank you for your testimony today. You may stand down. Mr. Torrey, Ms. Given?
Madam Chair, ORS would call Michael Seaman Wynn to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the following testimony to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Mr. Seaman Wynn, before we get started, I'm just going to ask you to turn your mic on and bring it as close to you as possible so that everyone can hear you. And when you're ready, if you could please state your full name for the record.
My name is Michael Seaman Wynn.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff as the Deputy Director of Energy Operations.
And did you prepare, cause to be prepared and pre-filed in this proceeding 4 pages of direct testimony on October 13th, 2023?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or corrections to your pre-filed direct testimony?
No, I do not.
And with that, if I asked you the same questions today as those posed in your pre-filed direct testimony, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
Madam Chair, at this time, I would ask that the 4 pages of pre-filed direct testimony of Michael Seaman Wynn be entered into the record of this case as if given orally from the stand.
Mr. Seaman Wynn's pre-filed direct testimony will be entered into the record as if given from the stand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Seaman Wen, have you prepared a summary of your direct testimony?
Yes, I have.
Would you please present that summary to the Commission?
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair Belser and members of the Commission. My testimony presents ORS's findings and recommendations resulting from the examination and review of Dominion Energy South Carolina's purchase gas adjustment during the review period. Specifically, I address ORS's limited review of the company's evaluation of the feasibility, costs, and benefits to its customers of a natural gas hedging program, as directed by the Commission in the order number 2022-857. ORS has not had sufficient time to examine and analyze the report or the conclusions contained therein. Therefore, ORS does not have any recommendations to offer the Commission at this time. Based on the limited review, ORS submits that the company's evaluation appears to provide a valuable overview of financial natural gas hedging, including the benefits and risks that accompany the implementation of such a program. ORS supports the additional exploration and assessment of the costs and benefits associated with the natural gas hedging program, as discussed in the report and by company witness Fang. This concludes my summary.
Thank you, Mr. Seaman Wen. Madam Chair, at this time, the witness is available for any cross-examination from the company's counsel as well as questions from commissioners.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbon. Mr. Burgess?
We have no questions.
Thank you. Commissioners? Commissioner Caston? You want, Commissioner Caston?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I guess you know. Has ORS had any discussions with the company, FERC, or any other federal or state agency on how to solve the need for increases in natural gas capacity for the state's utilities?
So ORS continues to have regular discussions with the company as well as the other electric and natural gas companies in the state pertaining to the need for additional interstate transmission coming into South Carolina. We monitor all FERC-related dockets, whether they be on the electric or the natural gas side, and where ORS feels that we provide comments in those dockets or get involved in those dockets in the form that whatever our executive director directs us to. But we monitor them on an ongoing basis.
And it sounds like you have confidence that ORS is doing all that they can do. Is that a fair statement?
I think we are doing all that we can do, Commissioner, as excuse me, as stated by the company's witnesses and as you've seen through numerous dockets before the Commission, there is a need, and that need is beyond the jurisdiction and the state boundaries of South Carolina. We could, a pipeline could be built in South Carolina, but if it doesn't connect to anything outside of South Carolina, it's not useful. So it's a multi-state, regional, and if you, according to Witness Jackson, nationwide issue. Natural gas infrastructure, interstate pipelines there is a need for them, sir. And I think this commission recognizes that.
I probably should ask Ms. Jackson this and didn't think about it, but are there any groups or associations, opportunities for folks to come together from other states, maybe other ORSs, or are there any entities out there to kind of pull folks together and discuss this, or is it kind of every man for himself? You guys just reply to something to FERC, but there's no combined or uniform effort?
Commissioner, I would say that there are absolutely groups, NARUC being one of them, Nasuka being another. The spring meeting for Nasuka is actually meeting next week in Charlotte, North Carolina, and ORS is going to have representation at that convention. Commissioners attend NARUC when they have the opportunity. There's also discussions. As the Commission knows, ORS works closely with North Carolina public staff, and where appropriate, we may file joint comments in a federal docket, but individually we file comments in dockets as appropriate as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I have no more questions.
Commissioner Thomas?
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just have one question, and it's basically the same question that I asked company witnesses. Do you have any thoughts or ideas as to potential modifications that could be made to the PGA process in terms of trying to help smooth the cost a little bit better?
Commissioner, I don't have any recommendations to you at this time. Your thoughts on moving the rolling 12-month average to an 18-month or a 24-month is something that we'll take back and take a look at, possibly have discussions with the company on. But as a witness to, and I continue to invoke the name of Witness Jackson, when the PGA was originally put in place, it needed some modifications in 2009. When it was put in place in 2006, some changes were made in 2009. It's been some time since then. The PGA has worked well since then. The rolling 12-month average has worked well. But there's no reason not to take a look at and see if there are possible changes that might be appropriate, and if so, those could be brought before the Commission.
Okay. And in addition to the time frames, there was a little bit of discussion about the 4 cents being the threshold for change, and also at the same time look at that.
Yes, sir. That's something that we'll take a look at as well.
All right. I appreciate it.
Sir.
Commissioner Justin Williams?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Seaman Wynn, how are you today, sir?
Well, sir, thank you.
Good, good. Wanted to know your thoughts on Dr. Fang's position on how the company should monitor and evaluate implementing a financial hedging program. I'm trying to wrap my head around how the Commission should review the company's decision or assess the company's decision in that particular or with that particular matter. Understanding, and just give a little bit of background, understanding what happened in 2006, how a decision was made to move away from financial heading, and sometime later here now, we're here talking about it again. How often should that be evaluated in your opinion?
Commissioner, I don't have a recommendation on that. You did hear Dr. Fang say that an annual look at that might not be appropriate. In looking at natural gas prices right now, going out for the foreseeable future, I took a look at futures this morning, and prices look to be forecasted relatively stable through or into 2026 from current prices. I didn't see any significant volatility in those prices. Of course, there's some seasonality to them, but I didn't see anything that led me to believe that outside of an irregular event, so to speak, winter storm, another conflict somewhere in the world, or new regulations being handed down by the federal government, nothing that I see on the horizon leads me to believe that the forecast that I saw this morning was incorrect. So with there being relatively stable natural gas prices forecasted for foreseeable future, reviewing whether the the cost benefit of a hedging program on an annual basis, again, may not be the appropriate time frame.
All right, thank you very much.
Sir.
Commissioner Carolee Williams.
Thank you, Chair Belzer. Good to see you this afternoon.
And you as well, ma'am.
Thank you. My questions have to do with what I understand you have testified to, that you all haven't had enough time to look at the hedging analysis. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, at the time of the filing of my testimony, we had only had the report for 3 weeks. You know, since then, some time has passed, and we have continued to review it. And I still agree that the report is, as I stated in my testimony, a valuable overview of financial natural gas hedging, including both risks and benefits. I will say the report does not have specifics for Dominion Energy South Carolina on a financial basis. It's not saying a program would cost X amount and would result in X loss or Y loss. But it is a good overview of natural gas hedging.
How much time will it take for you to complete your review?
Well, I'm not. Again, we have reviewed it,
Okay.
and it not being specific to
Okay.
the finances of Dominion Energy South Carolina, and the company has not made any proposal to implement the program at this point. There's nothing further to review.
Okay. Should there be a cost-benefit analysis at this point of the hedging program? That was, the final recommendation of Black and Beach, Dr. Yang.
I'm not sure if they did have specific recommendations, and I'm going to turn to those. Specifically, the recommendation was the costs and benefits should be more carefully explored and assessed. I believe that we're continuing to do that, Commissioner, in looking at the programs that the company already has in place. As you've heard before, the storage that they have in place is a physical hedge, and the 12-month rolling rate structure, is a hedge against customers' bills, volatility in customers' bills. But I think that taking a look at, costs and benefits should continue to be looked at. But again, referring back to my answer to Commissioner Jay Williams, that shouldn't necessarily be done on an annual basis.
So your testimony is there's nothing that needs to happen further within this docket?
I don't believe so.
On an immediate basis?
No, ma'am, I don't believe so. I think continued monitoring, looking at it, ORS will continue to hold discussions with the company, but I don't believe that anything further is required out of this docket.
Thank you very much. No further questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners, any further questions for this witness? Ms. Given, any redirect?
No redirect, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Seaman-Wynn, thank you for your testimony. You may stand down.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, that concludes the presentation of ORS's case.
Thank you. Is there anything further from either party before we conclude?
No, ma'am.
Attorneys, I would ask that you talk to staff counsel about dates for a proposed order, please. If there's nothing further from anyone, we'll conclude this hearing, and thank you all for your presentations and your attendance. We are adjourned.